Evening, everyone. I just had the music up while I was waiting for people to join. I like the I like to get it going. Sorry about the late classes. I do record them all, so you can always watch them the next day too, so just keep that in mind. It's live. Yeah, there we go. Mic's still a little bit low. Let me move my mic a little closer to my face. Let me know if that's a little better. So I'm charting gold up. I have a feeling we're already seeing it. I was looking at a bunch of things this weekend, and gold just looks so good. So I wanted to start out with that because I think it's going to be, unlike the COVID drop where gold was used for liquidity, this I actually think gold will be used for safe haven. So instead of investing in like Forex, things like that, you might see a fluctuate. You might see a rush into gold. And the other thing is like Bitcoin might see a bunch of sanctions on there. So last time, again, like Bitcoin was like the new gold, right? The new safe haven. Where with inflation and everything, we're going to be talking about a couple of different things that are going to be bullish this week. And you're going to see a lot of chop because you're going to see a lot of news coming out left and right. So, music lower more. Alright. I don't know why. I mean, it's literally at like 5%. I don't know why it's still so loud. So, I really like gold. I mean, you got a lot of things going right now on gold too, so I mean, even with like a Wyckoff, you basically have your zones, right? So you got your preliminary sell-off here, right? So then you have your selling climax here, your automatic rally, you got your retest, and then you have your accumulation zone. This is called the river. Then you have your show of strength here, and now you got your accumulation, and you should have your breakout soon, right? So you got your A, B, C, D, E, and then you have your mark up here. So this will be another A. So this is a mark down, this is a mark up. So yeah, I haven't been in crypto for a very long time, by the way. I think I put a chart on my Twitter of it going to 20K like in November, and that's pretty much when I stopped long-term investing in crypto. So, you know, the big thing you're looking at here is now we're seeing higher highs. So here's was you had basically this channel here, right? Oops, I don't get out of drawing mode. So you had this channel down, and you had your bump and run reversals down here. So you have your selling climax, bump and run reversals. Now we're finally starting to get above it, and you had, you know, basically a push out that got sold off right away. So this was a test, your first test, and then we had our second test where we broke out, but we sold off here, and now we're accumulating. So I really like gold to be going above 2K again, and I think sooner than later. And it's been a very long time since I've talked about gold and silver, to be honest with you. But I think it's time to start talking about them again. And I think the charts, I mean, this is a 2-year chart, remember? So, I mean, it's not going to just go overnight. I mean, it did go up almost $100 on the war news, right? But it's something you can invest in, and I think is a really safe. So, you know, something you might see in terms of price action is you're going to see it ramping up faster and faster. So you might see another test here, and then another low, and then a huge breakout, and you might see kind of a rising wedge, or not. It's going to be an expanding triangle, and then you're going to see a huge breakout. So it's going to be a very bullish expanding triangle with higher highs and lower lows, and then we're going to break to the north of it and get out, and that's going to be kind of close to our highs here. Now I can't even hear the music. That's a problem. Just crank my volume up to 11. So I did swing a few calls. I did think we had a little bit up, so if you guys want to see my Wyckoff chart, I do have it here. I did adjust it down. I did have it only coming down to here to fill that gap, but it looks like we came down a little more. So I'm curious to see if this causes us to go down any more on open, but I still think, I mean, we held off under this right here, so we're retesting this and we rejected off of it. So we don't have to go up. We can just go down. I do think it's not going to go straight down. That doesn't mean it doesn't have to. But, you know, the volume on these two selling climaxes here, so you have, see the volume on this. This is why I thought this was the selling climax. It's mainly because this volume in this area was the greatest we've had in a very long time. The last time we had it, we're over here. We had back-to-back days of it, so, or 2 days of it. So you had selling. This was a selling climax here, and then here. So big difference is each candle was larger, and you have very similar action here, and then you get another spike up here. So this is an automatic reversal up and then down, and you can see it's supported by volume. And then down here, you have the reversal supported by volume. Now, I do think we're going to get one more, and the volume's going to continue to go low. And then you're going to see a big volume right here, confirming that this is the bottom. And the 400 mark I've been talking about for probably like 2 months now is something I wanted to see SPY get to. And there is possibility it goes down to 380, things like that. The tensions with Russia would have to get extremely worse, and we're talking extremely worse. So So you're going to see an accumulation phase. You have your markdown phase. I don't see us going much lower than 400. Maybe I'm crazy, but until it starts affecting businesses, earnings, and things like that, and when you see earnings and they start talking about lowering guidance and things like that, that's what's going to be the big thing we want to watch is the guidance numbers that come out from businesses. And then until those start getting lowered, I'm not going to turn super bear just yet, but I'm going to continue to monitor it. Honestly, news could change my position at any time, but until I see something that is going to change my position, I'm gonna hold steady with yes, we have more downside. Yes, it's almost going to be the bottom, and I don't think, like, we should see a sharp reversal here, but even after that, I mean, you're going to see, you know, probably some more downside, things like that, right? And so it's going to be a long time before we get back to highs, and I don't know if we're going to even get there this year, back to highs, but we're going to see a lot of volatility up and down because you're going to get a lot of news, and you're going to get these huge days, which is going to be great for people that like to day trade, but it's going to suck for people that like to swing trade. And that's why I've gone towards, I used to be a huge swing trader and I loved it because it was easy, but now I'm more on the day trade side. And so I'll have to see where tonight takes us, but if I'm looking at it right now, if we zoom in on NQ, let's go look at NASDAQ futures. That's usually what tells us. So we just go, like, say, on the 15-minute, right? It looks like this probably could come down. So, JJ, I don't think it'll be years. I think it will be much faster than you think it will be. Things tend to play out much faster these days than in the past. And, yeah, look at this buying climax here on NQ at the bottom here. Or buying it here in the automatic reversal. So, I mean, there's just so much support down here. That's why it's going to be hard for people to go through that. We'd have to have something that would affect us a ton for it to go under there. So I'd like to see if we break this level here again. We might fill this wick down here. Maybe come down to here. But, I mean, even if we start, like, it'd be nice. What would happen is, let's say...
This stream is sponsored by TickStrike. TickStrike allows you to actually hear order flow in futures, forex, and stock instruments.
Alright, that was weird. But... yeah, defense stocks will be popular. So, I think we go down to here, but then I do think we go up tomorrow, if I had to guess. So, we could reverse here as well, but overall, I don't see much more downside in the short side. It all depends, you know, what we're down now because of Belarus joining Russia, and honestly, we're down because of Russia's nuclear movement, so they're talking putting nukes on the table as a possible weapon, which would be crazy stupid by them for them to do that. So, I mean, they launch a nuke and help us all. I mean, that's not a good thing if that happens. Obviously, that's saying that without... That's not good, but the one things I really want to look at is, so if you want to play corn's the big one. CF Industries is probably the most bullish of all the corn stocks. I mean, you just had a great breakout recently, And so you should see continuation on that. It's going to be a very popular one. I'm sure Goldman Sachs and a lot of the big boys coming up on that. Even fundamentally, I mean, this last quarter was nuts for earnings. So, yeah, they still got lots of room up, and their earnings are going to continue to go up because corn is going to continue to be a hot stock. So don't be surprised if they have a very good guidance here. There you go. I mean, it basically closed at all-time highs, so that should tell you all you need to know. I also think oil, natural gas, things like that, things that have been going up already this year are going to be things you want to look into. I also think, what's the one? Hold on 1 second. What's the S stock that I was thinking of? I'm trying to blink on it now. I know I have it saved somewhere. Just give me a second. There's different stocks like nickel, palladium. Here we go. PAL. SBSW. That was it. So I marked this up. SBSW. Stillwater Limited is a palladium stock, and they mine some other precious metals. And it just looks just gorgeous right now. I mean, even the daily looks like a cup and handle to me. And so I really like this one to benefit from cutting off Russia. You know, Russia is a big nickel and palladium exporter, and that's exactly what this does. Copper, nickel, palladium, all sorts of precious metals that aren't mined in Russia but are also very much needed. So, you know, they operate in the United States, South Africa, Zimbabwe, and this should see a really nice boost. They do have earnings coming up, so just keep that in mind when you're looking into this. They have earnings March 3rd, so they do have earnings on Thursday. No, I do not mean Forex. I mean stock market. So look for a breakout over 19 and this thing can go. I also saw 95% call flow going into this on Friday. ADM, Archer Daniels Midline Company, also going crazy. You know, they do agricultural commodities like corn, wheat, things like that. So this is one that will have huge impact, kind of like CF, ADM. I think someone just mentioned that. Warren Z mentioned it. Yep. Oh, yeah, sorry about that. Here, I'll just do it on this. Here, there you go. So ADM just broke out 2 on Friday. Kind of had this super bullish pattern here. Basically a cup and kind of a small handle. And it's going parabolic, so keep this one on your watch list. Tell you what, I'll make a list. We'll say war list. We'll add these to it. So we got CF, SBSW, we got ADM. EQT is a huge natural gas company. Gonna want to keep an eye on that, especially if we start supplying natural gas to Europe. So this one has really good call flow and things like that. I also have a couple other ones, pipeline companies, things like that. You're gonna start seeing heavy call flow in. This thing breaks out above 2350. Should run to 25 plus. I mean, there's no reason why this thing can't run 25, 26 and higher. Hey, this used to be a $70 stock one day, so. Also like Energy Transfer. This is one I actually currently am long on, personally. So, try this up over the weekend. I see it bouncing and running back to, I think this thing can go to 15 in the long term. I think CVX will most likely be up because oil will be up tomorrow. I also think the U.S. Natural Gas Fund is one to long. Yeah, I charted this up a while ago. Still have it going to 20 plus. You can see last year ran up to 22. Should be way worse than that now. So you should see this run, you know, possibly to 21, if not more. Pretty sure natural gas futures are up right now. Yeah, natural gas is up 2.5% right now. Oil is up 5%. Gold is up 1.2%. Silver up 1.6%. Soybeans is up 6%. Or 2.5%, sorry. Let's see. Looks like everything that is open futures wise is pretty red. I don't see anything green. Interesting. Oil futures, this can't be right. What the? There we go. Crude oil's at 95.53 right now. SLV could be another one you want to look at. Charles, SCU will be absolutely fine. I want to see silver retake the 200 day on SLV. I really like SCU. I think what they're doing technology wise is smart. especially with synthetic oil. If they can get synthetic oil prices down, that'll make a huge difference. USO could be another way to play straight straight oil. Obviously, the U.S. oil fund has been just straight up all year. Actually, it's just been straight up since since the COVID drop, right? When they basically had to trash all the oil. So there's no demand for it. Now you have demand for it and no supply. So, B&O. Brent Oil Fund. There you go. There's another one. I like that. So you could go UNG, B&O, USO. You can also go Boyle for natural gas. Also like SLV, GLD. I don't think Elon's Starlink commitment will do anything to Tesla. So I wouldn't rely on that having any effect whatsoever on Tesla. They are unrelated and don't correlate. Oh, 1 second. Novavax. So I did want to talk a little bit about GLD. Should have this marked up, yeah. So I marked this up the other day. I was looking at it over the weekend. Just broke a downtrend, retested, and bounced. So if you want to play gold directly, I think GLD would be a really good way to play it. So any stocks you're really interested in? Yes, all the ones I'm putting on the right here. What do you think we're doing here? Going over the stocks that I'm interested in. I think coal as well as an alternative will be big. So like Arch Resources will be a big one. I tried this over the weekend. I really like it. Kind of has this cup breakout, now extension. Did have 5 waves up, so it might come back down. But I do think it's gonna kind of, I might do one of these, or it's gonna do one of those. You really want to look at is anything in this XME. This is the sector and the top holdings that you want to pay attention to. And if you're curious what those are, here you go. So, BTU, Alcoa, Arch, Allegheny Technologies, Royal Gold, Newmont, Hecla Mining, Central Aluminum, Freeport Mason, Reliance New Steel, United States Steel Corps, CMC, AMR. Put these in a list and watch them. Buy the dips, they're gonna go nuts. The only one that I looked at over the weekend that hasn't really gone nuts yet is Hecla Mining. I think this one still is consolidating. It tried to break out, failed on this pivot, and got rejected right back down. So I'd be curious to see if it sells off in the dividend and then after the dividend they let it go. But the butt cheeks pattern is strong here, and I do think this will go eventually, and I think this thing has a chance to double. I didn't look at the short interest on it, but I could easily see that going up to $7.5 here. But you can clearly see the rounding bottom is very strong. We should see this thing come back up. So Hecla Mining, I like. Alcoa is a good one. ATI, BTU. FCX. Oops. FCX. SCCO. So this is one that I was super bullish on last week. It was actually my secret play of the week. Southern Copper Corporation. Really like the setup here. This is textbook accumulation. Like the flag this is kind of forming here. I like the breakout on Friday. I really think this can go $30 up. I do think it has a strong chance of doing that. So I am keeping a major eye on this. Copper should continue to rise in price. You've already seen FCX. Already see FCX breakout. This is something we were watching last week. You can see it bounced right where it needed to. Just made it closed at all-time highs. So keep an eye on this. This thing's going to continue to make money. One of the biggest copper smelters in the world. So Tech's gonna have Jared, Tech will have a lot of whipsaw this week. So you're going to see news affect it very much, right? Because Tech is the largest holdings. So you're going to see a lot of whipsaw out of it. And if you wanted to see what Tech looks like, we could look at XLK, which is the technology sector. You could see, you had huge buying down here and huge buying down here. So this supports a lot of my theory as well, that we are near a bottom, right? That's not what I meant to do. So we should see one more downside. That's why I like everything showed, like chart wise, I still think like everything wants to go test that 200 day, but the news tells me we just want to go down. So does that mean we're going to do this? Then go down? Because I could see that too. Then get our breakout? That's the question. I'm not seeing anything that looks bullish until mid-March to early April. Late March, early April is when you could maybe think about the bull run being, or the bear market. I mean, if you don't think we're in a bear market right now, I don't know what to tell you. Like, we're definitely not in a bull market. We haven't been in a bull market since Christmas. So, oh yeah, uranium. Yep, I like uranium too. CCJ is a good one. Oh, I even have it charted to go up. Awesome. So, CCJ, basically just made an inverted head and shoulders. I like that. Could do quad U as well, and URA. Quad U. Great chart. Just broke out and closed above the downtrend. I love that. I think the war list can be played until April, if not longer. This is going to have a lasting effect. Even if the war ends, the effect from the war will be long lasting. And I think that's something that we need to take into account, right? So the effect of the war will be long lasting, while there we go. Yeah, we did break out. I just had it charted in the wicks. So yeah, we're good to go. Uranium is back on the menu. Especially because a lot of uranium come out of Ukraine too. Shipping? Yes, it did. Yes, it did have unusual. So, this looks super interesting too. See, we had a breakout there. It's going to retest the 200-day. URA is the ETF for uranium, so if you just want to play the ETF, not a bad idea. If you're bullish on uranium. Looks like we closed above the pivot. I want to see this get above 2320. Actually, you could probably set an alert there. Maybe around 2350. Let's set an alert. 2315. We doing some memes tonight? Don't plan on it. Zim, I have it marked up. Nice. I haven't. It's kind of messy though. Let's get rid of some stuff. Zim. Volume keeps going down, so it's hard for me to trust this reversal. So I don't love that this volume on this reversal here wasn't super large. I mean, you did see most of the accumulation in here, right? So that's fine. Zim's gonna have stupid good earnings. Like, there's nothing to show me that it's not gonna. But that's next week. So maybe we sell off into it because of the markets, but I don't anticipate selling off that much. Yeah, Alex. ATI is on the list. Allegheny Technologies. And it looks great. Looks fantastic. You know, steel. All steel stocks I'm super bullish on. Everyone knows my stance on U.S. Steel. One of my favorite steel companies. You know, I called the bounce here perfectly all the way up. We retraced back down to 22. And then I forgot about it. And I didn't buy it. I went literally from 22 to 27. $5 move in 2 days. Sheesh. And it's not done. Like, I was telling people this will hit 50 by the end of the year. And I still strongly expect it to hit 50 by the end of the year. And so it's got to get over 30 first. I feel like that's like the thing that like causes the short squeeze. Over 30 and we can start to see this run. I think this thing can really go. You know, this is basically a 1-2, so we should see this run to 30 here. I mean, those are some freaking Hulk dicks, and we haven't seen those size Hulk dicks since back here. So the volume could be better, if I'm being honest with you, but I really like a lot of steel stocks right now. Obviously, could throw this on the list. You know, most popular steel stock. Looks great. It was the largest steel producer in the U.S., so of course it's going to look the best. It is the leader of all steel stocks. I don't have any feelings towards the COVID stocks, to be honest with you. I don't play them. I don't watch them. Um, I haven't. I've watched Moderna a little bit. Um, I did call a bottom on it recently, and I do think it's good. It bottom. I don't anticipate it crushing it back to 500 a stock. Like, to me, that was a squeeze. So you should see a bottoming pattern here soon. I just don't know how to interpret it with all of the war news, but I do see a falling wedge here, so might have one more leg down. Then we can run it back to about 185. Blink, I've been in for a while. I'm still waiting for this to go. I mistimed the breakout here. Could not get over this old pivot, right? So it's been struggling to break back above this pivot. If it can't do that, shorts are probably going to win, to be honest with you. So if it can't get over this pivot where this red line is, 2570, that's the huge number, 2570. I do love the inside candles here, so maybe we run tomorrow. But I wouldn't also be surprised if market conditions made us close. And then we'll have to see how earnings are. Earnings have been terrible lately, but we need to see some good news from the Biden bills, right, to make this go. If that can go, then it could get squeezed if we get some good news from earnings. I think yeah, the cybersecurity has also been super strong recently. So Pan W, jeez, what? Look at that volume! Wow, that is crazy. It's back to back to back volume. Just does it run 460? It ran $100 in 2 days. Man, imagine being long on that. I know Dapper is a big fan of Pan W. I just don't. Just looking at the income here. It's got a lot of debt. It's not profitable yet. I do love Pan W in terms of technology and what they do, so I do think they are the leader in cybersecurity, but I'm just interested. I don't know. I would need this to come back down to 535 for me to long it. So if this can come back down, form kind of a flag here, it just ran too hard, too fast for me to go long on it. LMT is another one that has run a ton lately. Looks great, bounced exactly where it needed to, right? Checked it off top here. I mean, LMT was on its way to a major breakout pre-COVID, and then went from 440 down to 260 on basically nothing. And now it's been in this accumulation zone for since then, right? Just wonder why like people ask me to chart Indian stocks. It's interesting. So we did get rejected there. We do have dividend tomorrow, it looks like. So I would expect this to open up back down here, and then maybe from there we can go long on it. Usually dividend marks the bottom of this, and it's interesting that we ran super hard into it. So I imagine LMT will look great. I still like it fundamentally, I'm pretty sure. Yeah, I still like it fundamentally, so there's no reason why LMT can't continue to go up, so this should help it. Oops, what just happened? So we can add an LMT to this. Alright. So, we got ourselves a nice little list here. I'll share this. Throw it in the chat here. So, we've been seeing a ton of dark pool sells on banks lately, as well as a ton of bearish flow on banks. So, for a while there, we were seeing bullish flow on banks. And what's happening is all of this news is causing the likelihood of a rate hike to go down, which is causing the bullishness on banks to go down as well, right? So if you look even at the oops, why is it doing that? I'm gonna make some channels here. So we did have a nice channel here. Looks like you got some more channels here. There we go. With the likelihood of the rate going down and then us cutting off all the financing from Russia, that's going to really hurt a lot of banks, because banks, there is some growth markets identified in Russia as well that we're going to be cutting off of. Especially like McDonald's is a big one that gets hurt from Russia. Why is the music so somber? Have you looked at futures? How are futures doing? Let's look at that. Rebounding a little, but nothing great, right? I don't even remember what I played last week. Yeah, I got a nice little candle there. McDonald's is definitely going down. Yeah, McDonald's is going to get hurt a ton by Russia. So, you should see a rejection here. Closed right at the pivot. I expect McDonald's to be down quite a bit tomorrow. Mullen. You're asking me to chart a 60-cent chalk since the 68-cent stock? How about no? Let's how about we don't do that, but then we just say that we did it? No. Nah. Where is this? Let's see what the most shorted stock in the market is right now. It's still GTLB. Any Russian stocks that you want to short have already been shorted, so there's not much opportunity there, I'm sorry. So GitLab is 98% shorted. That's a really nice downtrend, right? I don't see any reason why. Unless this thing can get back above 61, it's probably a reason it's shorted. Right? The Gap. Amazon. No, Apple's not going to 100. There's no way. I had Apple, or I had Amazon coming down to 2600. Looks like it came down more. Looks like it's rounding over. So I definitely expect Amazon to come back down to 2800. If not more. So I had it right for the most part. I just didn't expect it to go that low. It bounced off the 200 day or close enough to it. I mean, the lowest I could see Apple coming is probably that 138 mark. Maybe it can come down to, but maybe 148. I have to see. Ain't no way I'm gonna get away with keeping that up all year. Trying to reach a deal with Iran. I mean, maybe, but no. Oil's going to at least 110, 120 a barrel. I don't see any way it doesn't. So Bella's Health. I mean, as long as it stays above the 200 day, you should be okay. Looks like earnings were okay, but I mean, it doesn't make money. They just had a public offering in December at $8 a share. Is that why it spiked? That makes sense. So, yeah, as long as it stays above 200, should be fine, but I don't know anything about it, so I can't really tell you fundamentally anything else other than that. A firm is in the lending. So, they do credit lending. So, let's say you want to go buy a stock, or not buy a stock. Let's say you want to go buy something on Amazon, you couldn't pay it all for it. So, you would use a firm at checkout to do it credit over time. It's basically like a credit card company, sort of. So they do shitty term lendings. It's like, hey, you can buy this $100 thing and make payments over a 5-month period at 20%. So you're gonna end up paying $180 for it, or $120 for something that you paid $100 for, right? So they do small little loans, but they don't really make money because, I don't know, it's an okay company, but I don't want to play any of those DK. Those all look terrible. Many of them I'd play cost, probably. Yeah, lower rates would be bad for a firm. I don't expect that to be a huge impact on a firm, though, because they shouldn't really impact them at all. Alright, everyone, I think that's gonna do it for me. Did I put the list in the chat? Let me see here. Yes, so I'm gonna pin this list that I just made. And if you want the list I just made of all the bullish stocks that I was looking at on the, that would be where you would get it from. So I'll put it in the chat too if you guys are in the Discord. I'll throw that in announcements. So, everyone, have a wonderful night.